pun here upon how that games react to stuff. There's some of those things or play so I gotcha. Well, I got you covered. In today's little day, we're gonna be reacting today. We're gonna be reacting to Dorothy Will Never Know Peace. Not yet. This is an Eyes in the TV video. This is probably me covering the latest chapters, so spoiler warning. Put that out of the way. Let's get into it. Before I begin, though, this is not stream out. This is pre-recorded. But if you would like to check out the video itself, the link to said video will be located in the description below, or you can click on the title to where their name will be located and go ahead down straight on there. With that in mind, let's check it out.
Hello there. I'm the scenario director over at Shift Up, and I love to see my memeified pink-haired disaster of a waifu get in every scene she's in. Please.
I hate how accurate that is because I think if I remember correctly, they even said in an interview they like screwing with Dorothy. So I hate how accurate this is.
Enjoy. That was a direct quote from the GOAT himself over at the studio during an
There you
interview
go. I
with
forgot to turn up.
Imagination. At this point, it's safe to say Dorothy is one of the best, if not the best, written character in the game. Perhaps.
Agreed. 1000% agreed. I'm just adjusting the volume a little bit for y'all. I 100% agree. She's like one of the most well-written, very intricate characters. I think right after her, I want to say Rappy, but Anise maybe. I would say it would go Dorothy and then maybe a lot of I think Dorothy and a lot of the Pilgrims are very well written too. Not to say no, Nikke is not well written. I think the only okay, I take it back. The only one that's kind of iffy is Brady for me, and that's only because Brady has like one quirk and that's it. And you're like, oh well, there's a lot of good characters. Like, oh, there's one that only sweats. Yes, but I think they go really much into detail, and she's got more quirky stuff, and her whole thing isn't about sweats. Like, she's got supplements. It's about a whole other thing. But with Brady, it was just I eat, I taste. That's it. But yeah.
Perhaps you can argue her arc took a little longer than you fancy, but that no longer matters anymore since the payoff
No, I disagree. Sorry, that little fast forward a little bit.
No longer matters anymore.
No, I disagree. I think her arc took the right amount of time. That was a very good burn. We needed that to burn. We needed to go through that whole arc because otherwise it would have felt dead in the water. But yeah.
More since the payoff was so fucking great.
Yes, it was.
What else can I say? Literally god tier. Chapter 46 brought Dorothy's century-long revenge against the Ark to a close.
Finally.
Salute echoing Oswald's to Red Hood is the kind of peak that keeps the tears coming.
Yeah.
Total finally reuniting with her father figure after all this time hits like my Asian mom's slipper. Its meaning.
Really, Eisen? Bruh.
Was so profound that neither could describe their feelings in full for like half the meeting. Again, just a masterclass in tying crazy things together in the most believable way. However, closure on one wound doesn't mean Dorothy is done bleeding. Yeah, I do think the writers have more planned up their sleeves for this character, the walking punching bag of Nikke. Why do I say this? Disclaimer, before I tell you, the following is anchored to a schizo theory. Nothing.
Okay, we love the theories. Okay, go. Pop off, King. Pop off.
Is confirmed and is completely grounded in speculation.
All right, let's see you're good.
Let's go. Remember when Mirror gave Snow White and company the red shoes as almost a gift? It's an alarming gesture until you realize nobody really wants that thing. I highly doubt the quick and nimble Scarlet would use it, nor do I think Rapunzel will make use out of some oversized shoes. So, who's left? Dorothy is named after Dorothy Gale from...
Okay, so they are going to cover this. So hopefully it's not too loud. I'm looking at the volumes. It should be fine. But, anyway, so they are going to talk about this. Yeah, this has been a theory going on in the Nikke community a lot, is that technically Dorothy's going to inherit the red shoes, which will be interesting.
Wizard of Oz.
Yep.
And in that movie, Dorothy wears a pair of ruby red shoes
slippers
that symbolize personal empowerment, safety, and perhaps most importantly, a return to home.
So a little on this. It's technically slippers, but yeah, it works.
It sounds familiar, right? The shoes were in fact changed from silver to ruby for the film to utilize Technicolor, making them a lasting symbol of Hollywood fantasy. In terms of protection, the shoes defended Dorothy against the Wicked Witch of the West's magic, something that might be akin to corruption in Nikke's terms. All seems on the positive side of things, right? Thing is, the theme of red shoes appears in another fairy tale written by the great Hans Christian Andersen. Yes, the exact same spelling. These shoes are the complete opposite.
Yeah, I was wondering if you're gonna get into this. Yeah. So there's two versions of this story. Crud. I forgot about this.
They're cursed, forcing the wearer to dance forever.
I think that's the red shoes one, not the Dorothy one. I can't remember. I could be wrong, but that's the folklore.
Unable to stop, a punishment for vanity and pride. The only escape is amputation, a loss of something fundamental so you can't ever move on. Technically, some of these themes have already occurred in Red Shoes' story.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's kind of a 50-50 on that because they would. I don't think Shift Up will repeat the trope. Because they're not really do that. They always like trying to push new stuff. So I don't think they retreat the trope.
Cinderella lasered off her legs, and now Mirror is perpetually carrying on Red Shoes' legacy, dancing forever. So hopefully because of this, Dorothy's Red Shoes takes on the positive version. Still, as a contingency, I do think it's best we assume the worst, since that's what Nikke does. Well,
and also
all the time. Let's briefly.
Yeah, and also I'm going to react to this. If I remember in an interview, they did say they like to make the poor girl suffer. They think it's funny, according to them. You're sick, Shift Up. You're sick. But yeah, yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised. I'll give my thoughts about this in a minute. I'll give my thoughts at the end about this.
We talk about Red Shoes for a bit. Please note that Mirror is not Red Shoes.
She's not.
A personality code that's playing 4D chess, so don't get the two mixed up because I.
Yep, technically an AI.
This character was a traitor who believed rapture human coexistence was achievable through corruption. What an idiot, right? Well, she didn't think so. After screwing up Cinderella's corruption, her refined corruption code was released into the rapture population and evolved into something, as she calls it, perfect. The Raptures were masters of evolution, so she took a gamble and let them work on the code. That same perfect code is what ended up corrupting Peanut during Operation Ark Guardian, or otherwise known as the event Overzone. Peanut was essentially Dorothy's best friend, perhaps even more than that. If Dorothy was an angel, Peanut was her wings. How did the corruption even happen? Well, to put it short, due to incredibly bad timing, one day Peanut and Dorothy were left alone defending the place while the other goddesses were out scavenging and, you know, being horny. And in the middle...
you know, you gotta add that fine detail. The fine is the details, yes.
Of that split, a giant horde of Raptures decided to attack at the very same time, and unfortunately within their ranks was a corruptor. Dorothy managed to stave off.
Was that a corruptor or a tyrant? I'm trying to remember. I don't know if they said it was a corruptor, but yeah.
The attack, but was forced to shoot her best friend with her own hands. A
bullet
scene you
with
all
their
know
name
too
on
well.
it. Sorry.
And it was the moment that cracked her. Then a chain reaction took place that included Oswald, and Dorothy became the person we knew before the recent chapters. The goddess who wanted revenge but couldn't do anything because she loved the Ark too much. You can argue Dorothy is the biggest victim of Red Shoes alongside Cinderella and Grey, despite not even knowing it. So with that out of the way, the armament system in Nikke represents a Nikke channeling the essence, let's say, of another's legacy. This channeling effect produces powers that are exponentially higher than their original.
Yes, and I do agree. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, because... Yeah, you're right. Because I was trying to think about it, but yeah.
Such as Neon receiving the glasses from Princess, or Anise getting the star armament who's tied to Pretty, someone nearly as powerful as Lillivice. While we can't say for certain the Red Shoes are an armament, since, I don't know, it's just not quite the same as Pretty being manifested by Anise and the power levels are not even remotely close, it still has the fairy tale connotation. And so, dare I say, Dorothy receiving the Red Shoes armament would mean wielding the legacy of the very thing that destroyed her world. We can
Yeah, and also too, I'm gonna capitalize on this. It would make sense to get her because one of the moves that Red Shoes does, Dorothy does in an animation. Like she literally does the same thing that Doro does, that Red Shoes does. Like almost the same kick. So yeah.
Assume that the red shoes do grant a unique power, but like I said before, it comes with a price. The wearer doesn't control them, they control the wearer. Sounds like something Mirror would want, right? So then the question is, what would it mean physiologically for Dorothy to strap on power forged from Red Shoes' data, her entire philosophy of unification and the disregard of life for the so-called greater good? I understand it's quite frustrating to imagine Dorothy becoming a puppet for someone like Red Shoes, especially after all she's been through. The old Dorothy, the one that was broken, delusional, pathetic, even talking to a fake peanut ghost on some random ship in the middle of the ocean, could have never escaped from it. Her mental was weak as hell. Heavily guarded, yes, but once you exploited the weaknesses, it was pretty much GG. That version of her would have been consumed, no doubt about it. However, chapters 45 and 46 cultivate a Dorothy who has processed her contradictions and moved forward. Yeah.
Yes, and she also, I want to point this out too, she also has a reinforcement because now in this scene, she has Rappy, the counters, and the commander. Like, she's got all these friends behind her now. So she's got that reinforcement. So, yeah.
It definitely took a bit, and some people died as a result. Good riddance. Not her fault, by the way. But she made
he slipped. He's fine.
it. She patched those exploits in her mind, even with some duct tape. We haven't seen how strong she holds now, and that's the thing. Has she moved forward enough? Dorothy's arc has always been about grief weaponized into purpose. You know, like when she built Eden with the others out of the grief of losing Pina and being betrayed, and ultimately aiming it at the arc. Recall when she was so desperate to make her own version of the goddesses that she couldn't feel any joy when Inherit made real progress. Weaponized grief filters into itself. Thankfully, that chapter is closing. But Red Shoes mirrors a grudge Dorothy may not even consciously know she's carrying. What am I trying to get at here? I'm saying to wield the Red Shoes, to truly master them, Dorothy may have to do the hardest fucking thing, not just to forgive the Ark, forgive Oswald and his family, but confront the fact that Red Shoes was the original domino. The only way out of the cursed dance is to choose to stop. Dorothy's suffering is what, unfortunately, makes her human despite also being her biggest weakness. Holding it forever is indeed the curse, but
why did you have to do the Dora with the orange? You're twisted. You're flipping twisted. Why did you put Dora with the orange? You twisted.
this time, she doesn't have to hold on alone. She's acted alone the whole time prior to chapter 46. Yes, even in Eden. To her, those comrades were imitations of the good times, in a nice way. Now she has friends she trusts her life with, especially Rappy.
Her and that swimsuit. Anyway, moving on. Sorry. Appreciating my wife in her swimsuit. Just
Boom the Ghost really sent the friendship between those two sky high, and it warms the heart seeing it in action. She also now has the backing of the Ark, Anderson, Birmingham, Doban being dead, citizens who call her their angel.
Did you just use the yen coin? You're twisted. I love that, but you're twisted.
And last, but certainly not least, the commander himself. She has more support now than ever before. And just in case the Red Shoes are a Trojan horse, she's pretty much the best person to handle the bullshit that comes from it.
Yeah, she is.
Neon, of course, who's immune to corruption. Think about it. Her mind is so battle-worn from despair and self-loathing, 100 years of it, that maybe, just maybe, she can handle whatever Mirror has in store with little to no problem. In a way, Dorothy has the strongest brain out of everyone.
That is valid, true. I mean, because think about it this way. She survived all that stress and all that everything, and I don't even think she got a mind switch. So it's very true that's not gonna happen. Yeah, she would have
all that pain, and she still didn't have a mind switch. And she knows by sheer will alone that resistance is possible, e.g. Red Hood. Sounds like a good time for us regardless. we're not done. There's one more complication that unfortunately involves one of the most beloved characters in the game. Cinderella's hatred of red shoes has no equal in the story. Maybe Naita in about, like, I don't know, 6 months from now. It is a bone deep and entirely justified disdain for what she did to her all those years ago. Red Shoes subjected her to a 24/7 experiment of psychological torture. Kinda hard to move on from that, right? She was made to slaughter her own people, wound her cherished squad mates and idols, and of course, worst of all, turned into humanity's symbol of defeat. I genuinely don't think there's a worse fate than that. So, putting the power of our Gooner brain cells together, if Dorothy shows up having absorbed the Red Shoes legacy as a source of newfound strength, Cinderella's reaction will become a narrative nuclear warhead.
I agree, but I also think she's going to be more conflicted, because if it was any other Nikke, yes, but since it's Doro, it might be a catch-22. Because you have to remember, Cinderella has a huge crush on the goddesses. As in, and when I, by the way, clarification, when I mean crush, I don't mean like love crush for the Blendedy, calm down. When I mean like crushes and like admiration, like they want to have her power, like powers of like she admires them, she wants to become them. That's what I meant. But anyway, want to make sure I clarify that. Anyway, but yeah, she's got that admiration. I can see her getting pissed maybe, but then kind of reversing it and going, wait, I might be wrong. She would question it heavily, and she would be very watchful of Dorothy.
I'm telling you, even if Dorothy's intentions are pure, even if she's overcome the burden and she's got some flags sticking out of her ass saying she's a goddess of victory, to Cinderella, those shoes walking around in the world again, attached to someone she's being asked to trust, could be a little too unbearable. Remember, even just at the sight of Rappy Red Hood made her feel uneasy. And no, I'm not talking about when she was jealous of Rappy's spontaneous motherhood. I think this whole Cinderella thing will come.
True, she did, but you have to keep in mind, even though she made her uneasy, she did recoil back. And I honestly think what's going to happen, honestly, in my opinion on this, is I think Cinderella's going to say, hey, I noticed you have those shoes. I'm warning you. Tape it easy, you know, those aren't anything to mess with or something like that. It will depend on when she sees her with the red shoes.
To pass.
And you know what? My catch-22 is she might help Dora overcome the red shoes. That might be what happened because she's been dealing with Red's bullshit. Excuse me. But she could do that.
No matter who takes up the red shoes as an upgrade. We've known for a long time that the reunion between the two will spill disaster and nothing less. One caveat of hope in this schizo theory is this. Maybe there would be like a joint operation between Doro and Cindy confronting this together. It's thematically irresistible. The two characters most destroyed by red shoes come together and overcome the burden. It could even...
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, because I can totally see her doing that, because the commander can be the intermediary in this and basically say, whoa, 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 chill, 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 girls, chill, you know, that type of thing.
Even be the key to Cinderella's own deeper healing. Who knows? Anyhow, the bottom line is that Dorothy's suffering is far from over. It's the will of the writers. The beauty of Dorothy as a character is that her pain is productive. Yes, it hurts her, but it shapes her. And now it may be the very thing that qualifies her for the next step. The journey from now on is going to be a rough one. Whether she gets the red shoes and they turn out to be quite positive, or they turn out to be a Trojan horse and she has to go through the horrible things that we mentioned. Dorothy can do...
I think it's going to be both. I think it's going to be a power-up, but it's going to be a power-up she's going to have to work and earn it, because... Wow, that's a pause frame. Because I honestly think she's going to have to... It's going to be like... Because keep remember, the devs even said, we like making her suffer. So yeah. Yeah.
Do it. She's shown time and time again, while complaining, while suffering a little bit, that she is qualified. And maybe one day we'll be able to see it. See the version of Dorothy that she envisioned herself to become. Someone that surpasses Lillivice. Someone that could stand next to her and call herself the very same goddess. Hello there.
Okay, so you did say I love that. Okay, so you did pull a Star Wars thing. You son of a Benji. I knew you did because I was like, wait, did you just do a Star Wars thing? And yes, you did. You son of a Benji. But yeah, okay, I agree with this one pretty much. I do agree with a theory like that. My little catch-22 of it, fudge, I forgot what I was gonna say. There was something I was gonna say, and then I just totally forgot about it. But I honestly think with the Doro and Cindy thing, Cindy is gonna be apprehensive at first, obviously. Something's going to happen to Doro, and that's gonna cause the whole thing to spiral. But we will see. We will see, definitely indeed. But yeah, I agree with this theory full-heartedly and all the thing. I can definitely see it going on. I can definitely see it happening. I really don't see any problems with this theory. I'm gonna be frank. There's really nothing wrong with the theory in any sense of the word. Really, I think, yeah, I really agree. The only thing I don't agree with is Cindy maybe being pissed, because I think it's gonna be like a Rappy Red Hood scenario here, where Rappy is like, basically she's gonna get uncomfortable, and then it's gonna be like, okay, they're vouching, because keep in mind, Doro's gonna have to, he's gonna have to play peace here with Cinderella, but we'll see, but yeah, that was fantastic. That was a great video. I enjoyed it. I hope you all enjoyed it too. If you like what you saw, leave a like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell for more. Again, this was pre-recorded, but I do stream live on Twitch, at twitch.com. By the way, if you want to see the video yourself, the video will be recorded oh my gosh. It will be actually, wow, it will be, the link to the said video will be located in the description below. You can do that, or you can click the name on the title of this video and it will lead you straight there. With that in mind, everybody, I will see you all next time. Hey, pun.